Aloha, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Aaron Chef, and this is the STFC Ohana. Good to see you, Clark. Thank you for all the emotes. I saw that earlier. That must have taken a long time to put that together. I hope you save it too, so you can use it again. Butter Pecan, thanks for being here as well. I know DJs is still on, but we got started up, and we'll hopefully be able to carry you through maybe hour and a half or so. We'll kind of see how it goes this evening. But lots of stuff going on this Monday. Hope you are all having happy holidays. Hi, Liam. Um, Hi from this user. Are you ready for Christmas? I am. I am kind of ready for Christmas. I still haven't bought some presents. so so we're a little bit behind. The kids are taken care of. Um, the dog is taken care of. The dog is well taken care of. Dr. Mom has her present lined up, and so but people at work, we are a little bit behind as there's only a couple more days before Christmas. So hopefully we'll get all of that done today. Um, but thank you. There's followage. I didn't know that worked on here. Well, thank you for following for 9 months. So thank you very much. Yeah, so Christmas this year is a little bit behind. Hi, Mr. Tony, sir. Hi, welcome in, Moon. There's actually some new stuff that we have in the emotes. So you might see, if you are subscribed to the channel, you might see a new animated emote. Um, Still upgrading on Star Trek Fleet Command. Also, there is a new uh, mineral release. Okay, so you see those. Do you see? Well, is that Lostin's one? Yeah, that's Lostin's emotes. There is a new one. I'm not sure if I can pull it up. Thank you for the lurk. I'm not sure if I can pull that up myself, but let me see if I can because we've been kind of using it for a little bit. Let's see. Oh, it's so small on this here. So if you are subscribed to the channel, I also sent it to Lost In. But yeah, you got it. You got it, Butter Pecan. So you have the new spicy chef emote. I thought I had given that to Lost In, but obviously I did not. So I sent it to him today. I said, "Well, we'll kind of put it on my channel too." So, but there you go, there you go as well. Um, but yeah, I am not at all ready for. We haven't even done the Christmas cards, and usually that's one of the first things I kind of work on in November, right around Thanksgiving. But I have not been able to. Well, first of all, the kids don't like to take pictures nowadays. They are teenagers. Both of them are now teenagers, and so they don't like to they don't like to take pictures. So even I remember this distinctly when we were at Disney World. I said, "Let's go take pictures," and for some reason, we were never together in. And it's hard sometimes when you're at the theme park because the hair is all over the place and everything else. But yeah, we were never able to get a good picture together, and so that's why we're kind of stuck there right now. So I have a couple pictures. They are haunted mansion pictures. So we might have to piece those together and put them together as part of the thing. But there's no other pictures that I can tell. Well, there's a dinosaur ride one as well. But have you seen the date recently? It is past. Okay, so yes, it is past Christmas card time. But we just do everything digitally now. So we send electronic Christmas cards. So that's why it's like I still have a couple more days. Um, if I send them out Christmas Eve, that's fine. You know, if I send them out Christmas Day, that's also fine because I just text them to friends or message them. But we haven't done physical Christmas cards. I'm gonna say for at least 4 years, 3 4 years. Everything has been digital. We just send it out, and um, that's how we kind of work it. so so we used to go to Costco to get the Christmas cards, and they shut down their I guess, production. So we went to Sam's Club one year, and then ever since then, we just haven't done the Christmas cards. We could do like Shutterfly and everything like that, but yeah, it's digital. We have electronic copy. I'm happy with that, and the kids are older. I mean, we used to have like Christmas cards like like when they were born, right? So when brother was born, we had Christmas cards. We even had like the birth announcement cards, and that was the thing to make. And we printed out a whole bunch of them. But I still have stacks of those cards in the cabinet because we just bought extra and we never sent
Yo,
all.
Are we all
our
talking our
chef-
TV voice tonight?
Because
God,
one
our
year
chef has
I
a sexy
remember
voice,
I went
too.
back to Costco
I
like
should
3
just
times
quit.
to reprint stuff.
I should just quit.
And
I need to
went,
Yes,
retire.
DJ,
we're not going to
please
do this. We're
quit.
just going to get a whole bunch, and if we send them out, we send them out. And then it turned out we we ended up with a whole bunch of Christmas cards afterwards. But that was kind of rough. I have no idea why we were so short that one year, and I had to go back to get all these Christmas cards. So yeah, so I still have a couple of days. It has been kind of rough trying to figure out everything. so, so it is what it is, and we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of things really quick. But yeah, thanks for being here. Hi Tarpy, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for all your help. But yeah, we're just kind of trying to figure out we just got our I guess it's a ribeye roast. It's not quite a prime rib roast, it's a ribeye steak. So we use that, and we kind of season it. I think this one might come pre-seasoned. Yeah, it's bacon wrapped. It's bacon wrapped ribeye. So I just bought it. I mean, literally, I just bought it a couple hours ago. So that's how far behind we are. And then we'll pick it up from the supermarket a little bit. So yeah, so that's kind of how where we are, and trying to figure out everything for Christmas. We do have the Christmas tree. We bought a new Christmas tree this year. Still haven't shown a picture of it. We probably will show that in a little bit. We will make some green bean casserole because brother asked for that. And then we'll also probably, I think we'll also be able to do some like sushi. We'll probably get some sushi. We'll probably order that from the sushi place and everything. But yeah, there's just a lot of different things that we're trying to wrap up before Christmas, and that's just one of those things where hopefully we'll be able to get everything done. But the presents are taken care of. The kids kind of requested presents. We mentioned that the other day, so we kind of knew what they wanted. A brother actually purchased a lot of stuff himself because he wanted to get off of eBay. So it's like, okay, go ahead. You can purchase it, and we just can't open it until Christmas. He bought some stuff actually from Japan as well, and shipped it over through eBay. It's all through eBay. But the tariffs, you had to actually calculate the tariffs into everything. I guess they calculate the tariffs everything when they ship things over. So yeah, so that's kind of where it is. Why is this not working? Okay, we'll take it from there. Let's see. We need to do one more thing over here. Okay, there we go. All right. So hope you guys had a good weekend. We did a thing over here, and that is from our Chronicle of the Descendant. Hi, Broken Wolf. Oh, thank you very much for being here. I don't have much mod support today, so thank you for being here. Do you have any idea if there were lower prices on all bundles in Star Trek Fleet Command, or do bonus drops of rare items that big ticket for unlocking unlocking vaults. Um, I think they'll probably not lower the prices of the bundles, but they might put more stuff in the bundles. They might put more stuff in the bundles. So thank you, Cottontail. Good to see you. Good to see you, Cottontail. I that that played. Why did that play on my audio and the other stuff doesn't play on my audio? So yeah, I think yeah. Um, no worries. Took a bit for you to show up as live from. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, Twitch sometimes doesn't alert as quickly as need be. I try to hit the button once, but you can only do that every hour. So it gave you an error when you tried. Oh, that's weird. Huh. Who would have thought? I'm sorry that I gave you an error. But yeah. Oh, Doug, thank you for the 100 bits. I do appreciate it. It looks like my sound is working. That it hasn't worked for like months. I can hear a lot. That I didn't hear, but I saw it. I saw it. So yeah. Thank you, Tobias, for following. Welcome into the stream. Thank you very much. Yeah, so some things work and some things don't work per se. But yeah, so we're talking about Chronicle of the Ascendant. We said yesterday that we're only going to go and do half of the milestone. Well, guess what? We actually finished the entire SMS. So we got 256 million points over here. Oh, thanks for the shout out. Thank you very much for the shout out. But yeah, so we went through and did the whole thing. Hi, Iron Fister. Welcome in. Good to see you. But yeah, so we were here, if you remember, when we finished up the stream. Did we even finish up the stream? Well, we were here yesterday afternoon. So we're at 128 million points. And then we went and did this whole thing over here. So we were able to finish it up. Thank you, Tarpy. Thank you. Broken Wolf, get ready. So everyone duck. Yes, everyone duck. But yeah, so we actually were able to finish it. I wasn't quite sure if we are going to do it, but I can kind of share a little bit about how we are able to finish that off. But yeah, it was kind of neat. I was happy. I think Dax is a good addition to the Hierarchs sidecar, and you can also do this as a strike team. Survey strike team, if you wanted to. If you want, you could use Dax as a survey strike team. I wonder what the I wonder. Oh, my volume is up because we're monitoring DJs. Hi, DJs. Welcome into the stream. Good to see all of you here. Lightning Hawk. I'm going to turn my volume down because I have it on. But yeah, welcome in. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Raiders. I'm Dr. Aaron Chef, and this is the STFC Ohana. We're just kind of talking about the Chronicle of the Ascendant. Less than 48 hours before reversion, so that 3 hours. Oh, see, that is loud on my side. So thank you. Be real. Hail to you as well. Mazed up. Welcome in. You finish pushing 70 and building NE and Crenshaw. That's good. Destros, good to see you. We're saying good stuff about you today, Destros. You're a wonderful person. You didn't hear the blurb, but heard the lizard. Okay, that is a good question why some things are working and whatnot. So yeah, make sure if you're not following DJs, I'm not sure who is not following DJs. Make sure you follow DJs. Thank you for the 100 bits. And we're in the hype train. Thank you very much. It's very kind of all. Q Dog, welcome in. Thank you for following as well. Yeah, we're talking good stuff about you, Destros. I'm not sure how many people really understand what a nice person you are and how you contribute to the community. So I think this is a good time to at least acknowledge that on our stream. So thanks for coming in as well. Thank you, Iron Fister, for the 100 bits as well. Um, and there's so many wonderful people in the community, and it's kind of one of those things where we just kind of have to acknowledge them and make sure that we recognize those who are contributors. Um, all right, so yeah, so we're able to finish it off, and this is kind of where we wanted to mention, because I know a lot of people are talking about Chronicle of the Ascendant Coda and how they're not able to finish it off. We were able to get all milestones completed, so all 5 days or actually 6 days technically, but all 5 events, so 100. 500 points there. So a total of, what is it, 10, 20, 30, 40, 70 extra shards of Esri Dex. And we finished 8, so we didn't get any extra shards for tomorrow, but that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. You didn't even try, didn't do much this arc. Yeah, and it's December. There's a lot going on, so I can totally see that. So when we came to it, we were wondering how long it would take for us to get to tier 2, but we were able to move Dax into lieutenant grade, junior grade, and we should upgrade this real quick. Of course, there's this button here which I could push as well, and so now we are 81 shards to the next level. 81 shards to the next level, just by completing the event and doing some other things. So I think we're in a really good position, much better position than Nog. Nog is here, still at tier 1, unlocked. So we'll take it as ensign. So kind of what I wanted to talk about, and maybe if I can switch screens here, is kind of the strategy that we've been using for all of this. So let's get this up and running. I'm going to switch to the other view. All right. So here we go. So this is, of course, Spock's Club. Oh, thank you, Sniper Time Space. Thank you for the 100 bits. Yeah, thank you for also shouting out Tarpy as well. All right, so let me scroll up a little bit so you can kind of see what we're talking about. So we're looking at, so we were again at halfway through the milestones, and I was looking for 125 million points to get. And what I realized is that if I looked at the cost calculator for G5 ships, I'm 71, but I was looking at G5 epics. I only needed three epics in order to get to that additional 125 million. We're a little bit short, but very close, because if you look at my material spend over here, and maybe I should blow up a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. My material spend still yet for G5 epics is 41 million points. 41 million points. And we talked about this. I loved it. Thank you, Jules. I was going to say it, but I'm not going to say it because that would be a sound clip. I do. I also love the Daradex. So, but yeah, so when you look at this, 41 million points, and that's because we have skipped, and we kind of were talking about this as soon as the multi-tiered primes came out. We have kind of skipped where we could some of the efficiencies for materials, so we can go back to the epics and see if that's something that we could use going forward. But so think about it, it's 41 million. I'm going to move this down just a little bit so we can kind of take a look a little bit more. But if you think about it, when you have inefficiencies, it allows you to spend more points without purchasing additional ships, and that's what we're kind of looking for there. So if I were to say max out all the efficiencies, we're going from 41 again million, and I'm kind of curious this as well, so I haven't done this yet. If I were to max out the efficiencies, like this one goes to 250%. And then this one for material spend, I could do 300. And this one could also be 250. And let's see what other things we have. This is that's resources. There's a Kirk Explorer one, which is 50. I guess I'll have this. Click on these two. 50 here. We have the parts one. These are artifacts, resources, ship parts. There's this one, 160%. This one is 250%. This one is 40%. Thank you for giving a shout out to Jules Verne, another outstanding person in the community. Love Jules Verne and how he's efficient with a lot of stuff in the game. 400% for this one, and then that might be it. So when we go back up here, we went from 41 million to 27 million. So that's an additional 13, 14 million points that you can get out of the same ships by not being as efficient. And of course, I have some efficiencies there. Some are required to get the ship parts efficiency. We're trying to be as efficient with the ship parts because that seems to be a bottleneck for G5, G6, G7. But yeah, so we're able to score 14 more points, which is pretty much what, 50%? 50% of 27 million. So we were able to get a lot more out of purchasing a ship instead of 3 ships, which we had. 3 wasn't all the enterprises. We actually did we did all the epics, Klingon, Romulan, and Enterprise for the Federation. So instead of maybe doing 5 ships, we're only having to purchase 3 ships. Yeah. But there's also, you can afford the extra material. Yeah, so I can tell you it was a struggle. It was a struggle when I was in G5. That's why I didn't build the G5 ships in anticipation of this happening in G6, and then not so much in G7, but it still works in G7. I didn't build the epic G5 ships until I hit 61. So I was actually outside of G5 land into G6 land, and then I built the ships because you get the 10 times boost from the 7-day and 30-day chests for materials and parts and whatnot. So that's kind of where it was. The only concern about that is trit. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But it's the trit. I'm actually down. Let me switch back to my other side. Yeah, I'm actually down a little bit on the trit. So if I were to look here, I actually went down to, I ran out of resources. I had to go to the tokens. So you can see my tokens here. I still have 223 of the billion ones, 223,000 of the billion ones. But this was going fast. So I barely had enough. I spent down all of my regular resources. I do pull the refinery to convert the, where is it? Oh, resources. Nope. I do pull this one. So I am trying to spend the regular trit to get the Sigma, but you can't spend enough. But I did run out of regular trit resources that were in the hold, and I actually had to use some of the tokens. So, so that's one of those things. So yeah, you can see my refinery here. I still haven't upgraded all my refineries, so I'm out of regular trit. But it's a different way of playing. But it paid off for this leaderboard. It's not going to pay off all the time, and it certainly was a struggle in G5 land. But I used the Tribune, so you go all the way back to the Tribune, the G4 Epic. I used that all the way up through G5. into G6, and that was my main ship because it could punch up because of the extra shots with the burning. So so that's the thing. So yeah, so that's where we kind of fell with a lot of that, and and it kind of worked. Thank you, Tammy Moza. Sniper Time Space. Thank you for the cheer as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but thank you very much, and for the follow as well. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that that is something that um, if someone decides that they want to be a little bit more inefficient with their resource spend for their material spend, so they can be more efficient with doing leaderboards. That's a thought. And again, I don't think it's for everybody. You're really going to have to sacrifice early on for it to pay off down the line. And it did pay off a lot in G6 land, because I still had that bucket to go to in G5, scrapping the G4 ships, having the materials and ship parts for the epic G5 ships. The only issue is scrapping, but then we've been pretty much um, holding back as much as possible. So there's 142 spots here. We've only taken up 104 slots, so we still have 38 ship slots available in case we wanted to do this more. Um, and that's because we're not having to build as many G5 ships when we're in G6 to complete the SMSs and leaderboards. So it's just one of those things. Hi, Tavi Moza. Thank you, Broken Wolf, for snoozing ads. Yeah. How's my Reliant doing? Let's see. I can pull this. I did unlock today. I'm not sure if some of you have already unlocked that in the battle pass, the forbidden tech. We can take a look at that as well. Did I pass it? I passed it. Here we go. We're at level 47, tier 9. I think we have a whole bunch of stuff we can upgrade, but we're saving that for the next Chronicle of the Ascendant. All right. Hopefully they'll still accept these parts for that. I think they did last. Didn't they do it this past time? So hopefully we can use that again. But it's a pretty slow roll. It's only tier 9 out of 18. And then the new, not there. Is it a forbidden tech or chaos tech? Chaos tech. Okay, so we have the new Mark 6 photon torpedo. It gives hull breach for walk hostiles, and then increases championship trophy rewards, and then increases base hull help. So we have that slot there. So it's literally right before you guys came on stream, I unlocked it. So there you go. So it's on the Reliant now, where it should be, because this is where it's going to give you the most rewards. So 0.5%. We can upgrade that later on when there's a event. So thank you, Devil Doc, for the follow. So yeah, it's nice to have some stuff in the battle pass. If you this one, of course, is the paid one. Wait, why are we stuck? Yeah, so here it is. Does the unlock. So 60 shards. We got the 60 shards earlier for that. Yeah. And then we'll get more DAX shards at the end of the day. So we'll be a little bit closer to the next tier. And yeah, hopefully that works. Hopefully that works. All right. Yeah, so that's just a little bit on the inefficiencies with the material spend. And again, it's a different way of looking at it. Steven Aaron, shout out to Steven's Aaron. He's the one that mentioned. I remember I was I think I was in. Was it during Christmas time when that came out? I was I was at the mall, listening in the car, waiting for Dr. Mom to go finish shopping. So I was just in the car listening to the podcast, and Steven Aaron was talking about um, the multi-tiered efficiencies for ship span, and his warning was maybe it's not a good idea to be as efficient. And I kind of took that and ran because we had just talked about that the night before on our show, and so it was nice to hear Steven Aaron say the same thing and kind of give a little confirmation on that. So, oh, dealing with a troll in the game. Yeah. Did you get the battle pass unlock? Yeah. So we got the battle pass unlock. You were asking me. So yeah. So where's? Tell me if this music is too loud. I've been trying to figure out how to do music in the background. So, but I keep on forgetting to turn it on. I think that's play. Yeah, I don't even have it set up. 1 second. I think if I do audio input capture, audio output capture. No, I'm not even going to worry about that. That's not good. I'm going to mess the whole thing up. Application capture. Here we go. Add existing media player. Okay. Again, if this is too loud, just let me know. And then where is it? Oh, it doesn't want to play. Thank you, Broken Wolf. Thank you for the gifted sub. All right. Media player is not going to work. But yeah, I'm not going to worry about it then. All right. Thank you very much. That's really, really kind of you. Yeah, so we're very happy about the weekend. I would be disappointed if I didn't unlock. I believe the Hierarch is going to be a great captain for PvP, especially with the sidecars. I think if you combine Nog and upgrade your sidecars as much as you can, but if you combine Nog, especially with Kira, you're going to have a pretty potent anti-crit build for your opponent. And we'll kind of see how that works over the next couple of years. You got a picture. What kind of picture? Yeah. So there's a little talk on that. What else did we want to say? Oh, okay. So you saw the emote. Where is my other stuff? We did generate one more video for Lost In. I think I can play this one. Okay. Oh, we're gonna have to go back to the overlay. 1 second. Sorry. I should not have gone away from the view. Okay, is that gonna work? I got too many things going on here. There we go. All right, so Lost In, of course, has created this whole monster with the giant Iron Chef, and we've kind of been continuing on in the thing. So this is our happy holidays to all of you from myself, from Giant Iron Chef. You like that one? I don't know if I can loop it. Can I? I don't think I can loop it on this. I like how my face is getting more and more distorted. And my eyes are a lot bigger than they actually are. So my eyes cannot get that big. But I do look younger in this, so I'll take that. So, so do a diaper for New Year's? That might be something. I will write that down. Let me. That might be a good one. Uh, I do get like 3 video generations a day, and this was like the third one. And I was like, it's got to work on the third one because if it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to wait another 24 hours to generate some more stuff. But it did work out on the third one. So we sent this over to Lost In. Maybe he'll play it. I'll send it over to VDAC, Jason VDAC, because he has this whole thing. That. But yeah, there's the spicy chef emote on my side. Um, so maybe Lost In will put it on his side as well. Uh, but yeah, I'm actually very humbled that you guys play the emotes. I lurk on other people's channels and I see my emotes come up. I'm just like tickled to death. You guys are awesome. because who would have thought that was a thing? And I still remember watching Lawson's face. He goes, I gotta take a screen capture of you. It's like, why are you taking a screen capture of me? Little did I know that was for this whole uh, Dr. Giant Iron Chef thing. But thank you for embracing it and running with it, because I find I actually enjoy that Lawson gets a lot of enjoyment out of it, and he really seems to enjoy it. I hope he's not tired of it yet, because we have a lot more holidays that are coming up. It is a wild bit. Maybe they get that big if you're flying a sleigh. Well, yeah, yeah. You're a Iron Giant fan. Okay, yeah. I have watched the movie, and it's a very cute movie. So it's a pretty neat movie with good messaging. So it's only the beginning. Yeah, that's right. It is only the beginning. Um, all right. So yeah. So thank you for being here. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate all the support we've had over the past 3 years. This is holy cow. Is this the 22nd? I wait. I believe today is the day that I first started streaming 3 years ago. I didn't think about that. I believe the 22nd is the day that I started streaming. And it was late at night, way past this time of night. It was probably like 11 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. And I jump on wondering if anyone would kind of show up. And you guys slowly did, you know. So thank you. I didn't realize today was the 22nd. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, today was the day 3 years ago that I started streaming. And it was, in a sense, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. It is one of those things where I know there's kids watching. I know there's kids playing the game, or younger people like teenagers, right? And I know I used to be a high school principal, so I know how teenagers are. Um, but not all of them, right? Not all of them are exposed to some of the language or some of the content, the scenarios, the innuendos, kind of thing, and we try to keep it clean here as possible. I know people have been very respectful of that, and again, thank you very much, because it is a little different than the other streamers. But that's kind of why we started. I mean, it wasn't totally that. The reason why we started was kind of I played the game a little differently. I was an expert miner. I'm still am an expert miner, and I would win the leaderboard, for mining Mondays every single week, and that was my thing. It was like that's why I have 5 meridians. That's why I have 8 fichas. So my gameplay was totally different than not totally different, but a little different than other streamers. And we started with the concept of maybe there's a different way of playing this game. And part of it, we talked a little bit earlier about the material efficiencies, or not spending on those kind of things, or not upgrading those things. That was a different way of looking at it, because I know a lot of people were more kind of like, wow, it's a multi-tier prime, and why do we have this multi-tier prime? I like that the ship part efficiency was there, so I maxed that out as quickly as possible. That was my advice. We were one of the first ones to talk about the jelly loop, and we're talking more about the refunds of getting the jelly. And I said, well, you might not want to get a refund. You might want to just keep pace so you can get more points out of upgrading your jelly, and doing your SMSs and leaderboards, right? Because back then we didn't have SMSs, and they just started to trickle out a little bit later on. I think Lorca was one of the first ones. The officer Lorca with the hull breach, that there was an SMS, and we won the SMS because we had inefficiencies on our material spend, but we found a way to use the jelly, and doing all those kind of things. So your top miner as well did it to give Alliance credits. Yeah. Um, did anyone tell you look a little bit like Dean Cain, the actor? Um, Actually, Minnie Mabel, our friend from the UK, she does mention that a lot. I think she even puts a picture of Dean Cain up one time and try to pass it off as me. So she has mentioned it quite a few times, how I look like Dean Cain. Um, I did like Lois and Clark, um, but I do not think I'm as handsome as Dean Cain. I actually think DJs might look a little bit more like Dean Cain than I look like Dean Cain. So, so but Dean Cain is, I remember a lot of the females really were in love with Dean Cain's Superman. So STFC does not equal Star Trek Farmville Command. Yeah, and so we have migrated over the years from just the mining to try to be very good with the PvP. And again, that was kind of part of the channel, was we did not build any kind of G5 ships, because we were using the Tribune and punching up to kill rare G5 Sanctuses with the Tribune, because we had crewed it correctly, because we were able to get the Freeman the Freeman strike team, I guess you would call it, and punching up, getting the burning on there on the Tribune with all the extra shots, and just wiping out G5, or even sometimes epic G5 ships if they were lower tiered. So, once we started doing that, it was like, wow, we could actually, show people like you can be a G4 player and beat G5 players. So hi Highlander, thank you very much for the follow. Um, but yeah, and Cottontail, thank you for the bits as well. So yeah, so that's kind of how, when we look at back at some of the older content we're doing, we're talking about the jellyfish recycling, and how to actually be efficient with that, not just for the material so you can get G5 ships. It was actually for leaderboards and for SMSs, and how you actually do that right. I remember, you know, I have probably scrapped by this time like over 20 jellies. Um, and back then it was probably about 12 when we started going into G6. And those scrapping of the jellies, scrapping of like the enterprises, the original Kelvin enterprises in G3, that took us all the way through G4 and then into G5. And then we rushed through G5 knowing that if we caught up, we could be here pretty much at launch for G7. Yeah, and we weren't building those to recycle it to get ship parts for G5, because again, we didn't build G5 Enterprise A's. We were using it just to win the leaderboards. And we used to win at least one leaderboard a month when we used to have multiple epic officer leaderboards, like we would have 2 or 3. We would save up, and maybe like the second or third one, we would swipe. We would snipe the leaderboard at the end because we had the jelly, and we're just upgrading the jelly for like 3 minutes right before reset. And that was fun. I wish I had streamed more of that and then put a heart monitor on myself, because when we were like sniping people, it was pretty crazy. I was like nervous because one, I'm trying to be efficient with not overspending. But two, is like you never know who's going to try to snipe you back. But yeah, I wish I had streamed some of those because it was pretty. It was pretty cool, and we won most of them, but we also lost a few. But I think my alliance and my Galaxy chat would always get blown up because they knew it was coming. They just didn't know. I would fake them out sometimes too. I would seem like I'm going to snipe, and I saved it for the next week or something. So yeah. But that's what players settle for. But players might need to push back. Yeah. Yeah, but the big thing there was even getting the jelly. Yeah, I was very fortunate. I got a jelly by pushing ops from 35 to 37. And then the territories, I would insist, and I would mine, because I was the miner, right? I would mine all of the not transition. Such a long time. With the Meridian, I would mine like crazy, so we get all of the territory refinery items. And I would insist, like, I'm donating all this extra stuff. Please turn on the jelly parts or the jelly blueprints, so I can claim that once a week. And they were very nice to do that. So that's how we were able to get it, was all through territory. But yeah, those are the good days. when I actually could use the mining as kind of an incentive to say, look, we're winning mining all the time. I'm mining with 5 meridians. Please turn on the jelly blueprints. So I don't think we have a territory with that now. So hi, Quasel. Good to see you. Welcome in. So yeah, so that's kind of where it is with that. But yeah, it's kind of fun. We're 3 years in, and I've made a lot of good friends here, which includes you all. I haven't had like personal chats with everybody, but I've had a lot of chats with people, and I get to see you on people's streams, and it's kind of like, it is Ohana, it is family. Just seeing your names pop up and your comments and everything else, and for the most part, I would say everyone's pretty respectful, which is not always the case. So that's kind of the neat thing as well. Hi, Nora. You have 5 meridians first day. They were available, one every mining event. Yeah. Scopely actually told me I wasn't allowed more than when he asked. Yeah, wasn't there a limit at first? I can't remember how I got 5. But yeah. And I still have them because you can't scrap them. I would say most of my ships are, look at all these fiches. Most of them are, why is this? Oh, this one has this one must have the whip on it. That's why it's more powerful than everything else. Oh yeah, I color coded them with the skin, so I knew which one had the whip. Because this one has this skin, and everyone else has the glass skin. Yeah, 8 fiches, and right next to them are the 5 meridians. I actually even bought 3 discos, thinking that mycelium mining would be a thing. So there's 2, and there's another one in dock. But I actually thought for some reason that this would be a mining ship for the mycelium harvesting here, but nope, wasn't the case. You can get one free and buy one, then you could get them from stores. Yeah, I know they were in the stores, but I must have done shenanigans. I must have done shenanigans to get the 5 quicker. So when you were a competitive WoW player, the community was so toxic it turned you off. Yeah, 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 and I see that. I've been in games. No kidding. I've been in games where people have like threatened, like verbally threatened harm, and I was like, that's not, that's not something you want to ever see, and especially when if there were kids. Like again, there's teenagers that play games. Um, can you imagine the psychological damage you can do to a younger player? That's just not that's not right. I mean, the, and it's not. It could be any game. I mean, I was playing a really just like a world builder game, and I was getting threats. And that's the kind of things that, in the early days of online gaming where there was not as much monitoring of chats or the ability to report. That's not how it should be. So you do 100 billion points without trying. I believe. I totally believe. I didn't see. I've kind of retired the mining, um, so I don't do as much. Where's the mining Monday here? So I basically am 18th. So we're 18th. But I used to win this every single week. Like for over a year, I used to win this. And I was like 10 ops levels below the top person. I was a 50 and there were 60s. So yeah. But yeah, I've since retired because I cannot stay up all hours of the day mining. But it used to be a thing. It used to be a thing. Um, um, did you set the record for use of sick rooms? I'm not quite sure what that means, Liam, but in all my schools, also I understand farming and games. Yeah. So, oh, you take care of the bullies? Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And it's good when people kind of stand up to bullies for sure. So yeah, that's how kind of we started. Yeah. And when we started streaming, it really was, um, the in a sense the big three, right? It was No One Shall, who was on YouTube a lot, but then was also on Twitch. DJs was more the podcast, and then he had switched over to Twitch maybe 6 months earlier. And then of course Rev was on both mediums, Twitch and YouTube. And Tibbs was streaming. Uh, Rooster was streaming. Lube had just started, I think, or no, maybe Lube started after me. Um, but yeah, that was 3 years ago in December 22nd, 2022. And then Morbid John was streaming. Cap Jesse. Then Samuel came around sometime in April, uh, and and then we started Warp Drive 5 a few months after that. So yeah, that first year was kind of crazy, and it was only because of DJs. And again, thank you to DJs. I was looking at the charts one day, and you can definitely see a spike in the amount of followers, and everything else was because DJs rated in. So it took, nowadays, I know people, once they start streaming, then, because there's a bigger audience on Twitch, that, we're able to get people to affiliate really quickly. It took me 3 months because I couldn't get the 50 followers because I was streaming again late at night, 11 o'clock p.m. And the one time I streamed earlier and DJs rated into me, it was it was like magic. It was like, oh, okay, I can apply for affiliate now because I got my 50 followers and everything else. So so that's why it's kind of interesting because now we're in this partner push, and they changed the rules a little bit. So if you're able to get 12 streams over a period of 2 months, um, with 75 viewers average, then you can apply for a partner. So a little bit different. Samo had a little bit harder path. DJs just blew it out of the water, so didn't have to worry. But it was before you had to have 75 average over a period of 3 months, and if you had a stream where there weren't a lot of people, uh, it would affect your overall average for those 3 months, and that was rough. So if we have a stream that for whatever reason there aren't people that shows up or whatnot, it's not going to affect it because it's basically 12 different shows, and that's kind of how it works. So I'm super glad you're all here. It looks like our numbers are very good for tonight, and thanks for sticking around. I mean, I know it's late for a lot of you, and we stream late, but thank you for sticking around and helping us because if we our goal for this partner push is that partners are able to create teams, and we want to create a STFC team for everyone, primarily for Warp Drive 5 and next gen, but it's going to be open to everyone. I don't care. Whoever wants to join in the STFC community can join. So I think if we can get this done correctly, then for me, taking one of the team slots, so we only get two as partners, and so they're very precious. I know a lot of people want to protect that because once you set a team, you can't change it. Um, but I think that's our overall goal. If we can get partner, then we'll create a team that we can make it open to all, because we support all the creators. There is pretty much no creator out there in STFC that isn't isn't wonderful, and we want to support everybody with that. So we have next gen, we have Warp Drive 5, we have our friends, big and small, in the STFC community. We support them all. So, um, in other words, small market people like me and others are Bork. No, 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 no. Okay. If we can crack the code of how this works, we are going to make everyone partner. And I think it's just going to take a little coordination. We're going to have to ask some of our bigs to raid in. The other day we had like 3 raids back to back to back. And I didn't ask for that, but people were super nice. I think people are asking on my behalf, which which is super kind. I think people are asking other people on my behalf, and I really appreciate that. But if we can, I look at this as a problem-solving challenge. If we can figure this out, if we can make this work, we can do this for everybody, and it's just going to take coordination. But we have enough good people here where I think it's possible. So, um, who is this next gen? Uh, wait, who is the so they're up here? No, are you joking, Dashros? We do have 3 seasons right now. Um, so we have the season 1, which of course you know started a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. And then season 2 came around 6 months later, and then season 3. We're taking the 2 seasons a year approach, like most of the network channels nowadays. So, um, thank you, Iron Fister. No, no, you are part. There was no invitation. You are part of the community. You are the community, Iron Fister. You know, just meeting you and talking to you, you are definitely part of the community. I'm no different than anyone else. I just you know am on camera a little bit more. So, but we're all players in the community. It's everyone's great in the community. So, I have actually asked Twitch to get the exemption for the check mark, but from what I understand, there are people with like 500,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel that they for whatever reason they're just holding it to the regular benchmarks. So once I started hearing about that, I went like, there's people with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm not even going to worry about not getting in through the exemption. So that's what it is. So okay, oh, can I blow up the image? Let me try to blow up the image. No, that's thank you for asking because we try as much as possible to promote other streamers. So this goes back to Nashville. So we how do I explain this? So Warp Drive 5, we went and this is a little bit more complicated. So I'm trying to put this in organized stuff. We formed Warp Drive 5. This was late fall 2023. Started our first stream. We were Warp Core 4, then we brought on Scribbler in December, became Warp Drive 5 in January. So January comes around, we're doing Warp Drive 5, and then all of a sudden, we were I thought we were doing great. And it was becoming a thing, and then our friend Morbid John, who I still talk to this day, decided that streaming was not going to be his future moving forward or the game. So he stepped down from Warp Drive 5, and then I was like, okay, what do we do? Because we had committed to this name. so what are we going to do? Wait, hold on. Is my timing correct? 23. So this is going into 2023 going into 2024. So this is April 2024, a few months before Nashville. I'm like racking my brains. Who do we get to replace Morbid John? Because he was bigger than life, right? He just was this personality. You hear him say quality every once in a while on people's streams. And it was a huge loss for us. I personally was like, how do we replace one of our core members, one of our originals? And thankfully, Tibbs accepted an invitation to join Warp Drive 5. But we all grew together. And the thought was, okay, it can't just be us. We got to do something bigger to help the community grow. Because the idea was we can't bring in everybody. There's no way we can be like Warp Drive 10. And what happened was Minnie, Mabel, and I can't remember who else it was. It might have been Moose, said, oh, it would be nice if some of the veterans would kind of help us out as the new streamers. And I went, oh, we are now, we have a responsibility as Warp Drive 5. We have kind of a duty to help out some of the newer streamers, because we were still figuring out ourselves. All of us were in our first year streaming when we started this out. So the idea was Warp Drive 5 would kind of set a benchmark, but then we have a creator program of ourselves to help newer streamers. And again, I'm not telling this correctly because there's a whole lot of nuances with all of this. But so Minnie had requested, I think it was Moose. Then I said, well, why don't we create a support group in a sense, where we just help each other out, and we created Next Gen content creators, kind of as understanding that people come and go, right? So people come and go in the streaming community. They leave, they come back sometimes, they leave permanently. So we would have seasons, and those seasons would really be, you can join And part of the whole thing with Warp Drive 5 and even with next gen even more so is there's no boss. Um, Everyone kind of contributes. There's no one that tells somebody what to do. And we collaborate together, which seems like sometimes a lot of the stuff is like not organized per se, but it's intentional and that's design, which is that you guys all are in charge and we work together to help one another out. Um, so that's kind of where the whole idea was. It's a support group. It's to help and it's to promote, right? So one of the big things is that we we created these posters. So you see them on screen. It was kind of just a way to get our names out. Um, but then we constantly tried to promote one another on their channels, and that's how Samuel was able to grow. You know, she had a dynamic personality. She's a star. She knows what she's doing, and then we just kind of support her in the growth. That's how Aloha Diz became such a big thing because I know Scribbler and Samuel were promoting it, you know, all over the place, and then Moose and Minnie were like kept it on their TVs all the time. Um, Fisty, don't worry, don't worry at all. That's a preview. That's starting up in the spring, but don't worry at all, Fisty. Um, but yeah, so this was kind of like let's go from this small group of streamers. Yeah, a lot of bigs that were out there, but there were not that many. And then there's this whole influx of streamers. And let's support one another. Let's promote one another. Let's form subgroups and you can stream together and you'll see that a lot more, right? You have people going on other people's streams and they're just kind of like hanging out and it's cool to see, you know, people, you know, multiple people there. Um, so that was kind of, you know, what we were looking at in terms of next gen was just a support group. No telling people what to do. You need help, let's help each other out. Let's figure things how to like use the equipment, like how to promote things, like let's do cross collaborations. And you know, I understand um a lot about trying to manage these things because again, we were the first season, like it was hard because I couldn't make it super big, and that's why we kind of limited it to 8 because I couldn't manage, um, you know, emailing everybody or messaging everybody and coordinating things. I thought it would get out of hand, and now we're up to 24, and I think bringing people on and people moving out, it kind of is a good balance. Um, so yeah, so that's a long version of next gen. So you'll see on the screen, I can make it a lot bigger so you can kind of see everybody. And I will hide my picture because no one wants to see me. Where is it? Okay. So yeah, so you see Warp Drive 5. And we kind of jokingly say next gen is an affiliate of Warp Drive 5, which is just my way of being silly with that. Of course, the YouTube channel. Sorry. Next scene. Okay, season 1, you have Mini Mabel, Grand Animal Hunter, who's Maverick Games, Cree, Moose, Ultravetica, Two Guns, One Girl, CDB2U, and Zero G's. So again, you might see our friends around. And then Lightning Hawk, Candy White, Ice Wolf Law, Mord, Adva, Bensai, Camel, and Jado in season 2. And then season 3 is just our newest one. You have Jess, Quazel, V-Neck, Jason V-Neck, Cottontail, Itari, MJ Hat, Chronox, and then Coulter Kelty? I can't remember. I can never get it correct. Hi, Camel. Hi, Camel. And you know what? I have learned a lot from Next Gen. I think they have helped me become a better streamer. Thank you for the shout out. So I do appreciate everyone in the Next Gen, and people take it at their own pace. Um, I think the main thing is that, and you know what? Here's the thing, right? We're such a big community, and I repeat this over and over again. It's like good people can uh, can work together, but you don't have to agree on every single thing. And I think that's the beauty of, and you might see this a little bit when we're doing like ArcFall. Like I have totally different thoughts on things than Samuel does, or Tibbs does, or Scribbler does. I think that's kind of why we get along, because we respect each other's opinions. And the same thing with next gen. There's so many people in next gen that I knew for a fact that not everyone's going to have the same opinions, but if you can at least find your own corner of the galaxy and stream from there and support one another, I think that's pretty great. So I actually got to talk to Camel because when we're talking about next gen and being part of it, I had a personal call with him. I would never have that kind of call if it wasn't for for next gen and having that thing. And I thought it was just. I still remember to this day. It was a wonderful conversation, and got to know him a little bit better. And he's a very neat guy in our community as well. But it's those kind of things where, to me, that's even better than playing the game. It's the people in the community, and we have wonderful streamers, and we don't all agree, which is fine. I think that's cool. But we can be good people about the disagreements and be respectful to one another. So yeah, it seems like we have reached a critical mass on Twitch. Yeah. So there's a couple of things with this. So when we look at the overall goals, I'm not going to pull them up, but there was a lot of different goals that we wanted to accomplish. One was 24/7 coverage of STFC. Like, would it be possible that you turn on Twitch and someone is streaming STFC that's a content creator within our community? So that was one of the goals. And we achieved that during ArcFall now, where it's over 24 hours of constant streaming where people are raiding into each other. There is sometimes when there's special events and people are collaborating with another that will raid in. Like Sundays is a big deal, right? You start with Ultra and you go into Tibbs, and sometimes I'm on. We got to close the gap because Moose used to fill in that spot going into CDBTU, and then I would be on afterwards, and then Iceful Flaw is on. So Sundays, there's a lot of programming on Sundays, and then DJs will be on in the evening as well. So it's almost 18 hours on Sundays if we get it correct. So yeah, it was this dream of 20%. And you also have to think there was a time that I wasn't sure if we were going to have a content creator program. So it was almost our way of trying to create our own content creator program, just loosely outside of STFC, to kind of support one another with information, questions. Hey, is this correct? Am I giving out the right information? Does someone know about this? So within our Discord and within our DMs, there was a lot of collaboration behind the scenes, which you might not have heard about, but people are very willing to share information and to get that information correct. And part of Warp Drive 5 and Next Gen is that we're constantly messaging each other to try to make sure we're sending the right message, or checking on something, or trying to get something resolved. And we don't have all the answers, but that's a part of it too. And I'm very proud of Warp Drive 5. Scribbler, Jesse, Tibbs, Samo, but I really see a lot of what Next Gen has done, and they've surpassed us. A lot of what they've done is they've surpassed us, and I think it's just good for the game. So anyway, so lots of talking. I apologize. Thank you, Puck, for the tier 1 sub for 3 months. I appreciate that. I do have to do a posture check and hydrate. But yeah, that's kind of where we are. And again, it's you guys that are awesome. So much. You're going on vacation to Southern California. Um, oh, that would be cool if you do a remote stream. And D Camel, we do love you as well. With the number of variables involved, it's impossible to get 100% agreement from the group. Yeah, it's the pieces that put the puzzle together, and we discuss and select the pieces we need. Yeah, and that's why we've. I mean, I have self doubt about how I'm streaming a lot, and it's people in the community says no, they kind of like it's a little bit more calm. Yeah, they like that. There's not a lot of flashy stuff or that kind of stuff, and I try to improve the stream and trying to figure out how to make it better. But I also have a realistic image of my personality and how dynamic or not dynamic it is. So there's that part too. Um, you usually watch the Australian guys this time. I'm like, yeah, and we didn't have a lot of APAC streamers before, and now we have a number of them, which is pretty cool. I gotta get to know them a little bit better. I didn't realize how many of them there were, so I gotta keep better track of that kind of stuff. Um, Covering the gap is one of the things you love. Yeah, no, I think you did really good, Fisty. I think that's where it is. So. Um, You I've seen you sleep, and I felt really bad because I don't know how to wake you up when you're sleeping in Studio B. So, um, yeah, this is iced tea. So I have a iced tea addiction. Um, I've I used to drink um, Coke Zero a lot, but man, you would go through cases and cases of Coke Zero. So I have switched over to the zero sugar when I can find it iced tea, and it's enough to keep me awake, but not too much. So and it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper than buying cases of Coke Zero. You'll be doing a Christmas Day stream on New Zealand time. So check out DCamel if you can for Christmas Day stream over on his channel. For me, it'll be Christmas Eve for most of that Christmas Day for DCamel. So it'll be Christmas Eve for me. Um, you'll admit that you don't have a lot in the time slot that is shown. Oh, yes. So we do have, these are small things, but I think they've actually helped is that we have a calendar. So we kind of know when people are. We've also encouraged people not to hold back on streaming. Scribbler is one that, she's super kind. So she doesn't want to stream when someone else is on, but we keep on, encouraging her like, no, we don't mind if you stream when other people are streaming. You should because that is your stream, and there's no one that owns a time on there. It's just more for coordination purposes. Yeah, it is unsweetened. Okay, it's an oxymoron. It's Southern sweet tea, which I love, but the zero version of it. So it's the diet version of the sweet tea, but just the flavoring. I like. I do mix it sometimes with the sugar one to kind of just add a little bit, but it's mostly the diet. They used to call it the zero one, but now it's the diet one. Um, so yeah, it's you can see some of the yeah, you'll see me sometimes stream where you see some white stuff at the bottom. That's when I put in some sugar, but I don't stir it very well, so it's always at the bottom. Um, but yeah, orange pico. Did I miss that? You may have a surprise on December 26th. Okay. Okay. We will keep tuned. The type of tea. Oh, okay. The type of tea. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's Southern sweet tea. I love sweet tea. When we go racing canes, that's like my thing. But I gotta watch my sugar. So at home, it's pretty much the diet one. And sometimes, just to mix it up, we'll take the Crystal Light and make a bigger pitcher of the iced tea with of all things, the strawberry kiwi, Crystal Light, just to change up the flavor. There's a raspberry lemonade one too that we'll put in and mix it with the sweet tea. But the Crystal Light packets go a long way. So it's almost like can't make it too powerful there. Uh, Milo zero sugar sweet tea. Okay, I'll look for that. Okay, I will look for that one. I haven't. It's just a Lipton one. It's just a Lipton one, um, which is very hard to find sometimes. I think they discontinued it for a while, and then they brought it back, and then they discontinued it again. It's seasonal, maybe it's a seasonal thing. So yeah, but I do like tea. I think that was when I was getting my master's degree, and when you go to the cafeteria, all they had was like free uh, tea, um, that was in the not the kettles, but the coffee pots, right? So they had the tea in the and it was free, so you could have as much tea as you wanted to. And I just go up to the ice maker and get some ice, and then put the brewed tea in there with some sweetener. And I'm pretty sure my master's program is the thing that kind of kicked off the iced tea addiction for that. Okay, what else do we got to do here? So it is the last week of the arc. Um, we've been doing the outposts a little bit, so we have to do Romulan today. So we'll do some of the Romulan. Oh, so this will get us to 10,000. Oh, and then extra shards. I do need some Nog shards to level them up, so I will definitely do this. Let's get the day started. I will. What other events we have to do? So that's done already. Nothing to do with that. I do find this confusing that these are the outpost frontier events, because I'm thinking like the outpost itself, not the thing. So if we get bonus points for Cisco, 1800, which is not too bad. That's actually easy to do. There's a crit damage event. Okay. Thank you, Sniper. And I have to do trivia still yet. Although I'm done. This is just for one shard. Which group acts as administrators and diplomats for the Dominion? Any guesses? Quesa. You're welcome. Sorry, it was a long summary. But I'm glad you're part of next gen as well, Quasel. I think you add a lot, and just seeing you on everyone's stream is really neat. You really give back to the community as well. So, is B the Vorta? Okay. And I do appreciate everyone coming on the channel on the weekends, because that makes it move so much better, I think, and flow for our show. But Samuel and Tibbs have commented that I've been talking a lot more. And I think that's because I'm a little bit more comfortable with this whole thing. I've been trying to plan a little bit better. So I did have thoughts of what I wanted to talk about today. But it's hard. Sometimes I come home from work and I'm just super exhausted. So it's hard to kind of plan stuff. And then weekends are super busy. So the Vorta, yeah. So we'll do that in a little bit, but let's it's Romulan, right? So let's score some points. Yeah, I'm impressed with DJs because he works super hard during the day, and then he has all this energy to go and do a 3, 4 hour, 5 hour show in the evening. I give him lots of credit. That must be super difficult, but he's of course a professional, so um, so he can do that, and just do a show. I am not able to keep up with that kind of schedule. Although when you think about it, what is today? Monday. Um, this is day 4. 4 days in a row we did a show. When we first started this whole thing, we would stream like super long. So back in 2023, the first couple of months, I was streaming pretty much like 5 days a week for like 2, 3 hours, and sometimes up to like 6, 7 hours, because I was trying to get that affiliate. And I can't even imagine doing that now. What time is it there? It is 8:19 p.m. It is 8:19 p.m. Um, yeah, he was a radio DJ, and that definitely shows his ability to command the microphone and command the audience. Really, it is something where he's enthralling and captivating, which I am not. I am not at all. Um, but yeah, and the kids were younger, so they used to go to sleep earlier. So there was a little bit of a break between when they went to sleep and when I would start streaming. Um, Quasel. Repetition is good. I actually think because and the thing is, people pop in and out of streams, so you kind of have to repeat yourself. And if you don't, then the context of what you're discussing is lost on majority of the audience. Morning radio is kind of like that, right? They have segments, and if I'm listening to morning radio from, like, if I'm stuck in traffic and it's almost like an hour and a half, they will repeat segments, right? So if something is on at like 6:30 in the morning, the 7:30 slot, there's a repeat of what they did at 6:30, and it's because the audience will be different because people probably made it to work already. They're settling into their jobs. Here I am stuck in traffic, and hearing a repeat of it, which is not the intended purpose of morning radio. So that actually makes a lot of sense where um, you can go for 3, 4 hours knowing that your audience is rotating in and out, because some people have to eat dinner or they have other obligations and they're not there for the full 4 hours. Um, so it makes a lot of sense from a programming perspective. So yeah, absolutely. You're excited. You've been able to get yeah. No, you did it yourself for sure. Um, Fisty. Um, it just the speed of which you get there is accelerated by the power of people in the community. So all right, I think I gotta send my ship out maybe 1, 2 more times. Yeah, so I've been, as you might have told, I've been studying how people run their shows and whatnot. And the hard part for me, and this is something I've kind of have to live with. I don't like repeating myself. Like and this is at work, and which again, that's one thing. Like, if we were to do like stuff at school, because I used to be a high school principal. Every year we would try to do something different. Like, we wouldn't repeat the same thing over and over again. If it was an activity, well, there's some activities we would do, but we try to iterate and make it a little bit better and different. Um, but that took a lot of extra work. But because it was fresh and original, then it wasn't seeming like we're repeating ourselves all the time. Because I just have a hard time repeating. And that's why when I was a teacher, I struggled a lot. Because when you're doing lessons, you're repeating your lessons like 3, 4 times a day. And I I didn't want to repeat myself 3, 4 times a day. So I started recording stuff. This was all back before this whole flipped classroom or online classroom and whatnot. I actually started recording myself and giving it to the students so I wouldn't have to repeat myself over and over again. And then we would have more discussions about things in the classroom. Um, they call it, well, now they call it, well, a lot of people still use it, but it was like flipped classrooms where you actually did the lecture on pre-recorded, but it's the same lecture you're going to do in the classroom, and then you could just have like organic discussions in the classroom with the time that you're allotted. But I just it's just not my thing to repeat myself. It's not, but I've had to learn to do it, because it takes a while for something to sink in, and if you don't repeat yourself over and over again, then it's not as effective messaging. So, so even as I'm telling the Warp Drive 5 and Next Gen story, I'm trying to think. I said this already. I'm trying to think of a way to say it differently, and that's why I kind of get stuck and hung up because I'm trying to think of different ways to tell the basic same story. So it's a quirk. I apologize. It's just one of those things. So, but I've as we have kids, I have learned to repeat myself, not because, um, not out of frustration, just because I know from a learning perspective, you have to repeat yourself. I can't remember how many times you have to repeat yourself. I want to say five, but it's probably a different number for in order for it to be effective and sink in. You know, and that's a good lesson. There's a book by Malcolm Gladwell, and basically what it says is to master something, you have to do it for like 10,000 hours. Um, and it just takes a while to get something right, whether you're being told to do it or you're doing it yourself. You can't just do it once and think you've mastered it. You know, so being an instructor yourself, you understand that it's hard to do it over. Yeah, I when I was teaching, it was just like, and you can't get frustrated because it's not anyone's fault. You're just That's your job, right? But I just I just thought it was super inefficient. It was like, why am I saying the same thing over and over again when I can just say it once, and be done with it? So yeah, Malcolm Gladwell did cherry pick the data, and he's a very interesting person. So there's some, yeah, and so you kind of have to, um, take it with a grain of salt, like everything else. But I do believe that, and he was talking more about skills, and this is why I say about skills as opposed to like content learning. Skills is something you have to practice, like you have to do. And when you're teaching students, there are skills that they have to do themselves. You can't just tell somebody, oh, watch a YouTube video and learn how to play volleyball. You actually have to go out there and hit the volleyball and spike it and go through the whole things, right? So that's the practice part. You can't acquire a skill by just being told to do something. So you have to actually do some stuff, and that's where I think Gladwell. The main point is that you have to do things over and over again to get better at it. So yeah, 10,000 hours isn't always the same. It's not the same for everybody. Some people can acquire things more quickly than others. So I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. So yeah, I am a person that, sorry, you don't see this very often because I try not to talk about it, but um, I question a lot of like theories and other things, but I try to do it in a very respectful way. So I don't know Gladwell, so I think I can be a little bit more pointed. Um, but there are some things where it's like, I'm not sure if that's actually correct. So So yeah, quality of practice coaching. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Letting students fail is the absolute hardest thing to do. Going out and doing it instead of letting students try and fail is incredibly painful. Yeah, I agree, and it took me a while. It took me a while to learn that, but I kept on telling students like you learn from the failures, and I've learned a lot from failures. Um, and the reason being, it's hear me out here. So it's my theory. I'm sure someone's researched this, but um, when you succeed at something, the emotions that come from succeeding with it are different emotions than when you fail, right? So there's pain, there's a little suffering, there's a little regret. When you win and accomplish something, there's other types of emotions. So they're very good. They're very like rewarding and they're encouraging and they're positive and whatnot. But the memories that are part of going through the process of learning and doing is kind of what allows you to remember and improve. So this whole thing, and again, I'm sure someone's done research on this. I'm explaining it from what I've just observed over the years, is that the the memory and the stickiness of the memory of how it sticks in your brain uh, through the failures, I think actually sometimes is more powerful than the successes. Like you remember the failures because there's this deep emotion of of like, oh, I wish it wasn't that way, you know? And that's where, I and again, this could just be my personality. When I used to do we used to when I had my TV show a long time ago, and we used to do postmortems. And David Letterman has talked about this a lot, and that's why our show is called Later Tonight. Uh, but the postmortems were brutal because it was like, oh, I did this wrong. I messed up here. I should have said this. And like my director used to say, don't worry about this kind of stuff. But I used to go home and I went like, "Ah, that's just something that I shouldn't have screwed up with, you know. And I couldn't help myself sometimes. It was just one of those things. And I would make the mistake over and over again. But I remember those things. I remember those errors I make more so than, oh, if it was a good show. Like I don't remember the good shows. I remember the shows that weren't very good. So that's kind of the thing. So those memories and emotions and everything else that comes from the failure, from the mistakes, from the painful uh, you know inconsistencies of what you're supposed to do, as opposed to like, oh, everything went well. I think in your brain they're in a different location, or those memories are formed differently. So when you go back like 10, 15, 30, 50 years, um, you learn those lessons better, as opposed from if you just succeeded all the time. So yeah, I David Letterman, talks about, he would do a show and he would see all the things they did wrong, but then that's why he was very successful, because he was able to see what was wrong and then make changes to make it better. And I think if you can do that rather than wallow in self doubt and whatnot, then that could be very powerful moving forward with all of that. So, sorry, lots of philosophizing tonight. I'm not sure why. Why is that's the case tonight? But yeah, so that's you know some deep thoughts uh, by Dr. Iron Chef. You want to ask me a question? What category of people do you find to be the most difficult to instruct? Funny you should ask that, because today I was at work and my boss is taking a well-deserved vacation. So I'm kind of in charge of the office. So so she said, "Oh, can you meet with somebody, because we have this big meeting tomorrow, and kind of go over their PowerPoint and talk it over with them." And I have never supervised directly this person, but she's been two levels below me. I shouldn't even say if it was a female or not, but she's, there's a administrator in between her and me all this time. So, and that's still the case. It's kind of still like that. So I never directly supervise her, but I know her personality. It's a very strong personality, and one that, in a sense, when we talk about certain things, um, was willing to accept um, comments, but the first reaction was always, "Oh, no, 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 no." I'm sure she's not watching, so I think it's okay. Um, very, very talented, very productive, very good at what they do. Um, but that initial, like, no, 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 I got this. I know this. That to me personally is sometimes the hardest. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't take the correction. It's more the initial reaction to suggestions that I find very difficult, because it's almost like, are you listening? Are you listening to me? Yeah. Are are you considering? I'm not telling someone what to do. It's like, have you considered this? Yeah. So maybe that's where it is. You want to have someone that's open and receptive, but here's the thing too. Sometimes people just nod their heads and they go, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, okay, that's a good idea, and they don't take anything to do with that. So if I were to say who's the most difficult one to deal with, it's one that gives the positive reaction to what you're saying, but because they are disagreement with what you're saying and don't want to take your suggestions and are just playing the part, that almost seems more difficult than someone who openly rejects it, but then later on comes back and takes it, takes the suggestions and works with it. So I did get to work with someone today. I think we made some good progress. We worked together as a team, but the initial reaction was kind of more like, yeah, I don't know. That actually might be a lot better, now that I think about it, than someone that just kind of agrees with everything he says and then rebels against it silently and doesn't take any of the suggestions at all. And you don't know how to help that person. So I don't know. Did that answer your question? I hope that answered your question. Uh, you knew your subject matter, but there was all senior to me rank wise. I discovered very quickly that if you showed even a moment of weakness, you lost all credibility. It forced me to become a hard-headed master of the material, very much a growing, well, for all those years. Yeah, definitely. You have to know your audience. You have to know your audience, and you have to be willing to adapt to whoever your supervisors are and whoever your audience is. Um, I had a former boss that used to call she used to call herself like she was a chameleon, and not in a negative way. She just was very good at adjusting to the situation and reading the room and making the quick adjustments. Um, and that sometimes is a very important skill. Like, you have to be adaptable. You can change with the flow of where things going. Not kind of being wishy washy, but really understanding who your audience is, who your supervisors are, who the people are under you, and making those adjustments. Um, that's a skill. That's a talent. So yeah, taking feedback is hard sometimes. Yeah, especially when you're the person that's giving the feedback, um, says it in a way that's not very kind. So I get that too. And I've had bosses like that as well. That's why I really like my current boss. She is wonderful. I mean, she's very kind, very compassionate. We think a lot alike, which I think helps. Um, and she understands she understands the room, and she can read the room very well. So, but I think we've been. I mean, this is no secret. Um, People don't leave companies; they leave bosses, right? So if your boss is not um, the best boss for you, then people walk away. You know, I am hoping uh, my boss stays as long as she possibly can because I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Her because she's just the best boss I've ever had. So and she's all about building culture. And I think that's why we get along really well. She has built a reputation for our office that people want to work there because of the kind and compassionate culture that is part of um, the working environment. And I'm super happy to be a part of that. I'm super happy to be a part of that. So your sister teaches online, and she and half her coworkers almost left if their boss didn't leave. Yeah, yeah, I see that all the time. I see that all the time. You know, I'm seeing that now um, in other offices and other departments and other agencies. And we've been, sorry, this is probably not the best thing to talk about, but we've been saying, like, oh, we have opportunities here with us. you know, and I've been very, because we work for the Department of Education, we've been able to pull in a lot of people from outside the department that are very good in other agencies in the state that are willing to come and work from us um, and outside. So we're building our talent pool by attracting people to our office, which I think is great because we try not to poach, what we call poaching, from other offices within our education department. But I'm more than willing to welcome somebody to the Department of Education. She teaches high school math and is one of the better teachers. They have. Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Like, if you teach online, there are very, very few administrators and leaders that understand the concept of, sorry, I'm going to get on my soapbox, understand the concept of school leadership, plus understand the concept of digital leadership. So sometimes you either have one or the other, but you need both to run a virtual school. Uh, Virtual schools are sometimes more difficult than regular traditional schools, although you have the traditional problems because you have to be very adept at both the digital part and the leadership part, the educational academic part. And there's not that many people that are out there. They might be very good at the tech side, they might be very good at the school leadership side, but to have ability to do both, uh, it is rarer. Not as rare as it was 10 years ago, but it's still rare. So, um, talking off topic, something that we have always been great about and so awesome in the community. Yeah, we have been very good at talking about all kinds of stuff. Um, and the whole poaching part applies to all professions. Yes. Um, they want to blame the teachers for the students not doing well and don't want to learn. Um, so I was a high school principal for 10 years, elementary principal, vice principal for 8. It's always the leader. You can have very good, and I'm going to make this a different example. You can have very good teachers or great teachers at a school, but the school's never going to be great unless you have a great leader. That's the bottom line. And not to put so much pressure um, and leaders shouldn't take the credit, but the blame falls solely on the administrator. You have to work hard to engage your teachers and support them because that's your job. So, so I only speak from experience, and I'm not very forceful about a lot of stuff. But when it comes to school leadership, I get very passionate about making sure you have good administrators there. I think the issue right now is that it's so difficult to be a school administrator that when I was growing up, you would have a administrator teach for many years, and then they become vice principal for like you know 10, 15 years, and then they step into the principalship. That is not the case nowadays. There are a lot of people get thrust into the position. They don't have the support from the superintendents, which is another a key piece of this whole administration part and the leadership part. They are under prepared by whatever training or professional development program that they have, and they get fed to the wolves. But that doesn't mean when you step into that seat that all eyes on you and you have to do whatever it takes to make your school better. Um, and that means working with your teachers and supporting them. And here's the case too. I like to say that you know there are wonderful opportunities for school leaders. It might not be at that school. It might be place else where you can be wonderful, but it might not be at that school. So there's a place for everybody, but you have to be in the right seat to make it happen. And sometimes good leaders can be in the wrong situation, but if placed in the right situation, they will thrive and they'll grow and they could actually work very well. I know that for a fact. There are some schools that I've been at where I wasn't the right leader for them. They needed someone else, but I could be successful and hopefully have been successful in other places. you know, um, but yeah, not every school is for everybody. There's just different demographics and um, priorities and communities that you have to find the right fit for yourself. So, but yeah, I you should never blame the teachers. Granted, there are some teachers that you would like to help and improve, and that's the administrator's job to do that. You know, and I say that knowing that sometimes sometimes there is a need for separation in certain cases, and usually that revolves around um, untruthfulness and fraud sometimes. But for the most part, you have to kind of figure out how to work together. Um, Being good at a job doesn't always mean you'll be a good leader of others. Yeah, many get promoted from one level higher than the ability. Leadership is an art on its own. Yeah, I agree with that. You can be a very good um, worker, and then when you put it into a leadership position, it doesn't work. And it could work the other way around. You could not be the best uh, worker bee in a sense, but you put it into a different position and you can thrive. That's the whole concept of there's a right place for everybody. It just might not be here. It could be someplace else. So yeah. But I gotta say, where I work right now, everyone is like terrific. I think that's part of the culture that we built is that everyone's super supportive and everything else, and they're very good at their jobs. So even the person I was talking to today, she's very good at her job, like really good. So your mother was an assistant teacher for 40 years in multiple states and worked multiple places. The entire chain is the deal. One bad link from the bottom to the top makes the whole thing work. Yeah, yeah, it's a team. It's always about team. So, and then yeah, not everyone is a general. Yeah, I've learned that there are certain positions that I would not be good at. So, thank you, Destros. I'm glad you got home safely. Uh, all right, my voice is starting to go. So, and again, this goes back to the I don't talk very much. So, or I don't like repeating myself. So let's see um, if there's anyone on. Let me take a quick sip. But thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Breakfast TV, don't cut it short. Wait. Are they? Is he? Who's going to be on? Is Mord or Oh, Two Guns One Girl is on. Wait, when are they coming on? It's time for bed, anyways. You think you don't know when? Um, I could raid out to Two Guns One Girl, and she could raid into our Aussie friends. Would that work? What's that? What's that? Okay, let's raid out to Two Guns One Girl. Let me try and get this working here. Yeah, but no, thank you all for being here. I do appreciate it. Um, we hopefully this is number 5 out of 12 for the partner. I know Samuel's not on, so if no one's on tomorrow night, we might sneak in after DJs again. But again, it's only because Samuel's not streaming, and Scribbler is going to be with her parents. So I'm guessing no one is on. Well, V-neck could be on, so who knows? We'll see who's on. But I don't want to cut anyone off as well. And making cookies, yes. I saw I don't think I can share it, but she did send me a picture, or sent us a picture in our group chat with all the cookie boxes that she was sending out. So she does have that as well. All right, let's do this raid. Yeah, my voice is totally going. So we'll see. I mean, we may, if no one's on, then we might sneak in. If someone's on, I feel really bad if we did that. Why is she not showing up? Oh, I have to hit the following button. All right. Yeah, thank you again. We will raid out to Two Guns, One Girl right now. But if I don't see you before Christmas, happy holidays to all of you. Hope you have a wonderful time with family and friends. We will, if we don't stream tomorrow night, we probably won't be on until Friday at the earliest. So, but yeah, enjoy your time during this season. We might see you at the end of the week, and then of course on the weekends. Although brother wants to go driving because we have to teach him how to drive so he can get his license. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, let's raid into two Two Guns, One Girl, and we'll see you real soon. Ahoy ho.